Okay, welcome back. Now, as you've got your customer avatar now, the next question I want you to ask is what keeps your customer avatar up at night? When I started marketing, this was the first question that I was told to ask in my first marketing course I ever took. And it always confused me because I was thinking there, I sat there and I said, I don't really know. And I think that's because the question is a bit vague. What I like to think about, how I like to think of this question is to think about what keeps your customer up at night in the context of your product or services. Let me explain. If you are, say, a chiropractor, think about what kind of pain keeps your customer up at night. If you're a hotel owner, think about what kind of accommodation problems would keep my customer up at night. And then you can go ahead and start solving those problems and addressing those concerns. This is one of the most important marketing questions that you need to ask yourself. So, what keeps your avatar up at night? Go ahead and come up with 3 or 4 little things that keep them up at night and pause me for now. Okay, as you come up with a couple things that keep your customers up at night, we are ready to start the marketing campaign. But before we start it, I want to let you know that all of these assumptions, all of these profiles that we're making, these are our assumptions and they have to be validated. And let me tell you one thing, as small business owners, we're sometimes so tied to our product, our invention, that we tend to be mostly wrong. For example, I sometimes come up with courses and I think it's the most brilliant thing in the world, but I tend to be wrong quite a bit. So don't be afraid of making mistakes. And the most important part is to remember that everything you do in your marketing, unless you have numbers and measurements to back them up, they are just assumptions. Educated assumptions, but still assumptions. So much for the sobering and so much for the humbling thought. Now, as you are coming up with these assumptions, remember I said, okay, I think so and so keeps my customer up at night. Now, your job as a business owner and as a marketer is to come up with solutions that you can help your customers with. And this is how you'd come up with your solutions. You want to state it in the form of a hypothesis so it reminds you that it needs to be tested. Everything in your marketing needs to be tested. So you want to start thinking of things like, I think my customers want a hotel accommodation that provides them spa facilities. And how are you going to implement it? That's the next thing. Well, you can say, well, the best thing I can do for now is provide them with a free gift card to a spa that's close by when they stay at my hotel, because it would take a lot of money to create a spa facility in the hotel right away. That's a good thing to do because you don't want to go ahead and spend a lot of money remodeling your hotel if you don't even know whether your assumption is correct or not. And trust me, this is what most business owners do, and that's why they struggle. So you will say, okay, I think, for my customers, I'll just give them I'll advertise a free gift certificate to the local, to a nearby spa. And then you want to say, well, how am I going to measure it? How are you going to measure it? Are you going to measure the number of customers who come in due to your promotion? Or are you going to measure the number of members who take advantage of this promotion? Or the number of members who stay and then refer their friends because they had such a great time at your hotel? That's for you to decide. You need to decide what matrix makes sense for your hypothesis and for your marketing campaign. Your marketing plan is going to be made up of marketing campaigns. And for each marketing campaign, you want to answer these 3 questions. So what is your first hypothesis? You are at a point now where you can come up with the first hypothesis. So go ahead, pause me for a little bit and think about your first hypothesis. Again, a cautionary note that These are just hypotheses and they can be proven wrong. And that's the beauty of it. When you go into your marketing campaign knowing that your assumption might be wrong, because that saves you a lot of money. Okay? And if you make a mistake or if a campaign doesn't work out the way you had wanted, don't be disheartened. It's normal. It is the way things are. The only thing you need to keep in mind is that you can make better mistakes the next day, because we're all making mistakes all the time. So now that you've got how to create a marketing campaign, let's talk about the content of that campaign. What in the world are you going to sell? How are you going to compete against your competitors who are slashing their prices? Well, you can do that by competing on value. And value is often a misunderstood term because everybody's talking about creating value, but value is really difficult to understand. Trust me, there are people who devote their entire careers on understanding what creates value in a certain industry. And they're very highly paid as well. So this is an important matter. And as a small business owner, you are going to kind of have to guess at times what you think is going to create value. Now, the reason I use the word guess is because you need to interview your prospects and try to see if you can understand what kind of value they're referring to. When you're interviewing your prospects, they're not just going to come up to you and say, you know, I would feel that it is value if a hotel gave me gift certificates to a spa. That's not how customers usually talk. Value is something that's much deeper than that. So from there, you just need to start hypothesizing and solving problems in order to create value. Okay? And you do this with a process that has 5 steps. First of all, you identify an area that could create value. For example, well, I would give people the ability to relax without spending extra money, so I would give them a free gift certificate. Then you need to map it, okay? So let me backtrack a little bit. So you identify an area which is people want to relax. Then you map it and say, well, I could give them a free gift certificate or have an in-house program, but an in-house program is going to cost a lot, so I'm going to start with the free gift certificate. And then you create it. So you create your campaign, you establish standards, how you're going to measure it, then you seek perfection. You try to deliver the value in such a seamless way, in such a way that, in a professional way in which people expect. And then you see whether it was actually correct or if you need to come up with a different assumption. That's the process of creating value. As we were talking about value, we also need to talk about the definition of value. A lot of small business owners are misled about the definition of value. And I come from a lean marketing, lean management background. So in lean, it's really important. And lean is one of the best, if you're thinking about a management marketing strategy for your business, lean management and lean marketing seems to create wonders for small businesses, because lean is all about reducing cost and making sure your operations are successful with a very small budget. So what I've seen with small business owners is that they don't really understand the concept of value. Value is not what's in your inventory, okay? A lot of times that's overhead or waste if it doesn't get sold. Value are things that people want, that people pay for. Value is what customers value, and that's it. And the best way for you to think about it is anytime you're thinking of, say, buying a new product for your hair salon, start thinking of it in your customer's perspective and say, as Jane, I want a hair color so that I can color my hair at home without having to come to the salon, but with great quality. That's the kind of sentences that you want to start with to see if the product that you're thinking of buying is really adding value, or whether it's just adding overhead and waste into your business. Okay, so you want to start thinking of, as my avatar, I want X so that I can gain in X, Y, and Z. Now, I said that value is often a misunderstood term, so let's talk about what are the different types of things that people normally value. And here are a couple ideas to just start thinking about. People value it when you solve their problems. People value it when they can save their time, money, energy, and effort. People value it when you can provide them with something very unique. People value when you deliver on your promise. People value when you supply them with things exactly when they need it. And people also have a lot of stress these days, so they value it when they can de-stress and relax. So these are some generic things that usually can create value. So start thinking of these in terms of your business and see if you can start saving your customers time. You're adding additional value. And at that point, when you can address the value question for your customers, you don't need to worry about your competitors who are slashing prices, because people are willing and they generally pay more for things that they value. And this is the key to competing and staying alive when you have so many competitors. So, what are some of the things that your customer values? Remember, we created that customer avatar with a couple descriptors. Tell me some things that your customer values. For example, if you own a local grocery store and you're selling fresh green vegetables and you call yourself a greengrocer, what are the things that your customers value? One of them would be freshness. The other would be local produce. Now, these two are very, very strong value propositions that will help you compete with, say, a generic grocery store, a super market such as Superstore, or I don't know what the biggest, like Safeway, and these Sobeys and these stores. That's how you create value and hang on and compete and succeed in a niche market. So go ahead, pause me, and come up with a couple things that your customer avatar values. So welcome back. As we're talking about value, I find it really important to add something here. It's important for you to realize that only the work that adds custom value to your customers and stakeholders is actually productive work. I also help small business owners with their time management, and a lot of times I find that people get so overwhelmed in their businesses, and mostly it's because they are focusing on the wrong things. So as your business starts to grow, as things start coming to you from different directions, you need to remember that only the work that add value to your customers and your stakeholders is actually productive work. Your customers, the way you add value to them is by solving problems. The stakeholders, the way you add value to your stakeholders, which in a lot of cases will be just you, is by creating a sound plan that helps the business grow. So that is the value equation. Now, let's move on to the third promise that I made you when you signed up for the webinar. And I told you that I would help you select the right advertising medium based on your business. And this is how you do that. First of all, remember that customer avatar where we asked, where does my customer hang out? That is an incredibly important question when it comes to deciding where to spend your advertising dollars in. The next question is, how do they currently buy things that they need? What kind of process do they go through when they decide they want to purchase something? That's an important question to ask yourself as well. So let's take the example of the greengrocer. So where would people that would come to a green grocery store hang out? Well, I would think they would be fairly health conscious, so they may hang out on health blogs. They may hang out on communities for healthy food recipes and so on. They would probably also be very active. So, gyms and boot camps and those kind of stuff would be a good place where I think they would hang out. And how do they currently buy the things that they need? Are they buying things by reading reviews on blogs that they trust? Are they opening up the newspaper and deciding where to buy things? Or do they get those flyers in the mail and decide, well, Superstore has a discount on red jalapenos, so I think I'm going to go to Superstore for my weekly grocery? Is that how they decide? These are the questions you want to ask yourself. So take a minute, think about, where does your customer hang out? Okay, welcome back. I hope you've got a lot of great ideas. And even if you couldn't come up with a lot right now, don't worry about it. Just go back to it and give yourself time to think about it. All right. So we've almost come to the end of the presentation. You've almost got your marketing strategy with you. The one question I would like you to ask yourself as you're creating the strategy is, how would you advertise if you wanted to market to yourself? The reason I'm asking this is, remember when I said a lot of times we start small businesses because we're very passionate about an area, or it's almost like small business owners go into business to solve their own problems. Like, if you're a green grocer, it's very likely that you're interested in local fresh produce and you couldn't find it, so you started to create your own business. That's very common amongst business owners. So one of the best ways to take advantage of that is to ask yourself, okay, if I was advertising to myself, how would I market and where would I go? Because a lot of times our customers are quite like us, actually. So go ahead and give me a couple ideas on where you would market if you were trying to market to yourself. Now you have the tools to make your marketing effortless. So what actually makes your marketing effortless? Remember that slide where we said it's all about understanding the customer, creating a set of processes to create value to the customer. That is what makes your marketing effortless. Now you can use what you have created today to put together your marketing plan, and the next step for you is to execute your marketing plan. Once you've got a good plan, the executing part is incredibly easy. Your plan doesn't have to be overly detailed. In fact, I would caution against it, because a detailed plan is going to become obsolete anytime. Okay, things change really fast. So keep your plans lean and start your executions, but also remember that you need a good enough plan to put your money and to put your time into the right places. Now, you can do everything we talked about today all by yourself, and that will produce you excellent results. But if you're looking at ways to reduce the learning curve, then I do have a marketing intensive mastermind coming up that's starting on October 1st, and that will help you save time and get feedback on your marketing plan. You can also use my experience. You will get one-on-one training and help on your marketing plan. You can also use your peers' expertise. So you'll be networking with people and you will learning from their industries, and that will help you stay accountable and make sure that you achieve your results. So you can do all of these by joining the Marketing Intensive Mastermind. The mastermind includes 7 one-hour training sessions. So these go through the concepts and the principles of a good marketing strategy. And you will receive assignments and, most importantly, feedback on the work you're doing, because it is very easy to get off course or do the wrong thing when you're trying to market. And this mastermind is a way of making sure that you're on track and that you're not wasting your money on things that don't produce you results. You also get peer assistance and networking. So you network with people who are small business owners like yourself in different industries. They've gone through the same things that you've gone through, so you can learn from their experiences. And you will walk out with a strategic marketing plan And not only that, you will execute the plan while you're working in the mastermind. It's all about execution. It's all about getting things done the right way. And that's what the Marketing Intensive Mastermind is. If you're interested to learn more, feel free to visit actionablebusinesstraining.com/mastermind. And the plan is discounted for you for attending this webinar. The regular price for the plan is $250, but as a webinar attendee, you will get a 20% discount. So you can sign up for the plan for less than $200, for just slightly under $200. I hope to see you in the mastermind. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, just shoot them at me and I'll try to answer those for you. Thank you for attending.